You got to see it through, my boy. You got to see it through.
Mm-hmm.
When I say you got to see it through, you got to see your plan and your objective, and you got to bring it to full fruition. You got to bring it full circle.
What the hell is you talking about?
Man, I don't fucking know, man. I just be, you know what I'm saying?
Listen, I tried to let him bring it in, and this man just skipped what we getting into.
Man, look, we finna get into the whys. What's your why? And when I say what's your why, not the motivational why. Yes, you can say that, but we're going to get into the real whys of why you do things the way you do things and why things happen to you. Because at the end of the day, you are the creation of what the effect. You the cause and the effect of what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to accept it regardless. It may take you a while to come to term and full term with it, but you are the cause and the effect. Yes, it may be portrayed down through your parents and through people that come in your life, but you still have a choice to make when it comes to decisions, when it comes to execution, and when it comes to being, perseverance of any type of situation that may encounter. Because even though we look at certain things as losses, they really are learning lessons. You know what I'm saying? And how you look at things, a setback, they be like, a setback is for a major comeback. Yeah, but it depends on how you go about the things that happen to you. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times we look at being isolated and we look at being reclusive as a bad thing, when really it's a study of self, when really it's a study of what you don't know, when really it's a time for you to take everything that you know that firsthand, when it comes to taking everything that you're going through at that time and space and to develop and go into a cocoon and flourishing out of it.
Yeah, but the butterfly effect. I like that. That's what I like to call it.
And so that's the cause and the effect. That's a life. Everything is not going to be always up.
This is true.
So that's my transition into this segment. Why?
Yeah, so the segment, he pretty much broke it down. Why do you do the things that you do? Why are you motivated in doing the things you do? Like, for instance, if I ask you a question, why you want to become a rapper? Why did you chose to use the name Mr. Steppa?
Mr. Steppa.
You give me Shadda. Why are we starting this podcast? Why, you know what I'm saying? Am I the type of person that I am, coming from a rough ass background, to be able to make this situation happen? You know what I'm saying? So everything that you heard today has a why behind it.
Let's direct it towards Undefeated Minds, and let's direct it towards Deshaun and Shadda. I feel like even though we always introduce ourselves to people, let's give them an example and a small description of who we are. So, because we always get on the men, we always get on the females. Let's get them why we started Undefeated Minds. Let's get them why you are the Deshaun you are today. Mm-hmm. Let's give them why I'm out of the Shadda and the Mr. Steppa today. And we, of course, we're going to give it to you honestly and brutally as possible, but we're also going to be protected. We're not just going to just blurt everything out, of course. Who does that? But we're going to be real with y'all, because we always targeting other people. Let's try that today.
That's cool. Go ahead. Start us off.
So, you want to know about Shadda and Mr. Steppa. It is my why and the reason of it. I'm originally from, like I said, Alabama. My mom was born in Chicago.
Don't get too much personal information.
Let's say. But give or take. The name Shadda came to me because my first name is Rashad. Shadda was given to me by my mom.
So why'd you find, what made you get
into the
Shadda?
name Shadda?
Like, yeah.
What really made me get into that name was the movie Shaddas.
Okay.
And I always was called Shotty Shad, like Shaddas, like they were Shadda baby, like they were saying that to me, and I never liked it when I was grown. I'm like, don't call me that, don't call me Shotty Shad, don't call me Shadda.
So what made you come to terms
Shadda.
with it? Like,
it was more mature. I guess I didn't like it because Shotty Shad, like Shadda baby.
Yeah.
I'm like, don't call me Shadda baby, Shadda man. I'm like, don't call me no Shadda man. It sound like Spider-Man, but it was like Shadda, like, yeah, you know what I'm saying.
Where did you get Mr. Steppa from? Like,
Mr. Steppa came from one of my old principals. In like the little neighborhood that I was in, people were around, they was like, bro, you quiet, but you a step.
Hold on, so you said somebody else technically kind of gave you that name.
Yeah.
See, I feel like real nicknames come from the street, or like people give you that name. Yeah, that's a real nickname.
That's a nickname.
I don't feel like if you give yourself a nickname, that ain't no real nickname. You gave yourself.
You gotta really earn that name. And right. So like somebody was like, "Yeah, little man, like yeah, man, I see you out here stepping. I see you out here doing something."
Yeah.
And he was like, even though you ain't loud with it, you know, you a little stepper like you. So it was like it's little stepper. And then when I got older, it was like, "All right, Mr. Stepper, I see you, Mr. Stepper." And then I think women started calling me that because I was like, "You coming out looking clean." But when it's time to, you know, be with your boys, you gonna stand on your own.
Yeah.
And so I always heard it, and I just made sure I added to it. And that came Shadda, and then that other person when it's time to do whatever it is, regardless if it's talking to, you know, the guys or talking to a young lady, it was always like I'm gonna step on something, like you're gonna see me. And so that's where my thing came from. As far as you. What you think about Deshaun, man? Like, and yeah, cause that's your name, of course, man. But give him a little background drop of your other nicknames that you notoriously own in Atlanta and Ohio.
So my nickname is Swole. Technically, this name is still runs through every time I go home. No matter what I got. I've had people come to me. You was there. When the guy came to me, you know what I'm saying, from a little kid that was little. And I don't know this guy. And came to me and was like, Swole, hey, are you Swole? Like, you was the guy who inspired me to play football. And he got a D1 scholarship and he in school right now.
Right.
Playing ball, trying to make it to the NFL. Even though I didn't personally make it. He's trying to do it because he said that I inspired him to do that. I got the nickname Swole from a guy named Yusuf. When I was in 6th, 7th grade, he was like, "Damn, bro, you big as hell. Like, you swole as shit. You know what? We gonna call you Swole." Like, right. So I've always been the sauce. It's just genetics. I got picked on as far as bro, you take steroids, da da da. No, like this has always been around. So this name has always been my stick to me. You know what I'm saying? The name was so big that they started calling my little sister Baby Swole. You know what I'm saying? Like, and nobody would mess with her because they knew who I was. And it was more so a respect thing, not a fear thing. It was just like, we respect, bro. But then at the same time, like I was saying earlier in the podcast, I had a lot of guys who were jealous of me. Man, he ain't that big, man. He ain't got this, da da da. Yeah.
We always told you, if you're not doing something, you know you're doing something right when somebody got
a lot of these people who disliked me when we were younger are now Facebook friends, are now followers. You know what I'm saying? Like, you guys were making emotional decisions for the things that you didn't understand. So here's my why. Why I am the way I am. Why I started UndefeatedMindz. Why I push and drive to focus on, you know, like fuck the middleman, do it on my own, is because of within that same process of me having the nickname Swole, I was booming playing football. Like, this was one of them legendary type ones where you seen documentaries like this guy was this guy was that. And this is why I've humbled myself, because in that time, I was eating that shit up. I'm not gonna even lie to you, bro.
Yeah, bro,
I was like, yo,
that high from football,
that's a different type of high.
It's like what basketball players feed on. Michael Jordan even admitted it. Everybody, that adrenaline rush, that high that you get from,
you're never gonna find it nowhere else.
It's never. We can't give you that.
Alcohol can't give. Girls can't give. Girls
can't. It's a high that's so fulfilling that you literally will feel like that you're unstoppable. Like, you feel unreplenished. This is your world.
You feel the most important.
This is your movie. You feel like you watching the movie. You feel like this is your movie. The movie is some camera around here, 4K, is watching you at all times.
Following you the whole time. But go ahead.
And so, I mean, that why, I mean, I feel like a lot of people can relate, because I feel like some women feel like that with makeup. Like, some women feel like that with attention.
Oh, no, that's exactly how these ladies feel. I wouldn't even call them ladies. I think ladies, that terminology, lady, is earned. Like, same one with gentlemen. I think that's earned.
Right, okay.
These girls out here nowadays are getting so high off of these likes. And don't get me wrong, the science and the psychology behind the like button, the guy who created the pop sound for Facebook, even tells you every time you hear you get a like or an alert or something on your phone when it comes to that nature, you're releasing small doses of dopamine to make you get addicted to social media. So flip the scenario and put it back on me. When it came to people saying like swole this, swole that, I was getting high off that fame. Like, I'm like, bro, you couldn't tell me shit. Like, bro, say my name, bro. Swole this, swole that. Oh, you swole? I want to know why they call you swole.
You the
like,
stories and all that shit
bro,
coming with it. Yeah, tell them the story I did.
And the crazy part about it is, I don't have to tell these stories. You know it's real when other people will tell you the same story, and I ain't got to say shit. So, for me, I was getting high off that. Now, here's where I fucked up at. Like, I got so high off of it, I was slacking on grades. You know what I'm saying? I like the feel that females was swole this, swole that. Why they call you swole? Da da da. I was getting high off that, and I knew like I ain't never want to lose this feeling. I ain't never had lost that feeling. But what made me lose that feeling was I couldn't play for 2 years straight, my sophomore and junior year. 2 critical years that you need, especially when you was at the top tier of your talent. Not the top, but in that era.
That's very crucial. Your freshman year is to get introduced. Your sophomore year solidifies your spot for the next 2 years.
Junior and senior year.
So
I failed both of them, bro. I flunked out, and I tell you straight up, like, flunked out of school because I was bullshitting. But at the same time, at that time, I wouldn't put it on myself. I would blame the situation that I was going through. So I like to say I had everything and nothing at the exact same time. So, like, I had all the fame. I had all the people telling me like this. I was getting featured in magazines, in the newspaper, all of that stuff. Like, even when I moved from Atlanta to Ohio, I was in the newspaper. I was in all of these things. Highly recruited, breaking records. You know what I'm saying? I had all of that. But at the same time, I had nothing because I was homeless. Living in and out of shelters and hotels and stuff like that. And I'm not talking about, you know what I'm saying, I didn't have nothing. No, I currently don't eat spaghetti, pasta, lasagna, none of those things because of that shit scarred me. Because of in homeless shelters, for cheap, they can spread out lasagna and spaghetti because it's super cheap and it can be spread to so many people. I don't even eat the salad that come in the bag.
The romaine.
And it's already ready. I won't touch it. I don't crave lasagna. I don't do because it scarred me because we was going through it for so long, and I even be vulnerable right now on this. We lived out of the district, and in order for me to stay inside the school, I had to ride the short bus to get to the school. You know what I'm saying? So, like, at the same time I was getting called swole and I was getting high off that fame. I was going back home. I wasn't even going back home. I was going to nothing. Like, so it's kind of one of them things where it was a tug of.
Cool.
Yeah, it was like, okay, I got it all, but I don't got nothing at the same time.
Yeah.
So I don't fall for possessions and stuff like all this stuff, bro.
It's materialistic.
I was happy without having nothing. So I know how to be. You can't buy me. You can't put me in a situation where I'm like,
I done been there, I done done it.
I know what the bottom feel like. It's nothing but up for me.
Right.
Growing up in a 1-parent home would have been cool. Growing up in Section 8 would have been cool. Growing up in a situation where I could argue with my mom about certain things, bro. Like, it was situations where I had to be so strong to my sisters. I didn't have time to be able to say, this is how I feel.
Emotion. Yeah.
So I had to be able to control my emotions within that, not knowing, not being aware that's what I was doing. And at that moment, you can consider it suppressing, but I wasn't suppressing it because I was very aware of how I felt. But it was just like, I can't make decisions off of emotion because if I do, it's going to fuck me up, which ultimately I learned that because of that dopamine high feeling was a form of emotion, bro. I was getting.
It's different.
That was my outlet. I'm like, shit, call me swole. Because once I go home, once I go back to these hotels, once I go back to this homeless shelter, the homeless shelter on MLK, downtown Atlanta, you know what I'm saying? The hotel, Villa Lodge and Suites, all the way in Gwinnett County. I can name all of these places that we were at and show you. I can describe these places to the T, bro. It was one summer where we literally, this shit was so fucking hot downtown Atlanta, bro. Everybody had to shower in one shower, bro. And the way it worked, like, it was flies everywhere, bro. It was so fucking hot. Everything stunk. And then we stayed in this spot where you inside the church and it was cot by cot by cot by cot by cot. You was saying next to each other, bro. I did not sleep that day because I was worried about my mom and my sisters. And I was young, bro, but I was just like, let him off. I was in the wood. You hear me? Like,
fuck off.
But I'm thinking that this is like 12, 13. So,
yeah.
But at the same time, when I go play football,
it's time to let that shit out.
Whoo!
I'm the big dog. This is my world. Yeah.
That. So
like a superhero, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you going through this bullshit at home, and then you get this shit on, like, you get to really show, like, nah, I'm like this.
Yeah, I'm like that. And if you come my way, I'm on your shit.
I'm on your shit.
You know, I don't like to use the sob stories because I'm going back and forth between having everything and nothing at the same time. I'm not the type of guy. I don't want you to feel bad for me. I don't want none of that because I've turned my losses into lessons and I glorify them. So this is why I have to drive the way I have because I had nothing. So I know what the bottom feels like. So I will never touch this shit again. You hear me? For nobody.
Bro.
Not for no female, not for no man, not for no woman, not for no football, not for nobody. I will never touch the bottom in my life. I will die before I touch the bottom.
Yeah.
That Get Rich or Die Trying, that's why 50 Cent, one of my favorite entrepreneurs. Dog, I'm not going to go back that way.
Bro.
Ain't no losses.
When I say this is one of those statements, you really gonna get the realness of us. Like, you gonna get the understanding of who we are and why we so close.